Hi there, and welcome to the I'll Try That podcast. This week we're visiting the Czech Republic, and I'm going to be very sorry if I butcher the name of this of the beer we're trying. We're trying Pilsner. Oh God, no, I've butchered it already.
Double butchering.
Say butcher one more time.
Meat cleave.
Pilsner?
Pilsner Urquell, I think.
Pilsner Urquell, there we go. Look, I've already messed it up, it's fine. But I will hand over to Joe, who's going to go for the hot topic.
So this week, the hot topic, I'm going to talk to you about a new beer just in time for summer. Now, what do you need when it's nice and hot outside?
Suntan lotion.
Water.
Water, yeah. So waters are like that, that's a good idea.
A hat with a big brim.
To not be at work.
Not be at work, yeah, absolutely. You want to be out enjoying it. So when you're out, let's picture the scene. You're out in a park, okay? Yeah. Nice summer, hot day.
Hot pants.
You've had plenty of water. You've got your suntan cream on. You've got your big hat on. So you've ticked all those boxes.
Yeah. And you've got your little hot pants on.
Sure. You want to be wearing your little hot pants, Father? You can do. And you hear in the background this faint twinkling, like kind of music, like kind of jovial, music coming in the background, and it's getting closer. And
Santa's coming.
No, in the summer.
Yes,
it's of course going to be an ice cream van.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Oh,
so
not Santa then.
Not Santa. The opposite of Santa.
A really skinny, miserable man with a clean shaven. He's an insurance salesman, isn't he? That's what we're talking about.
So, just in time for summer, Camden Town has come up with an ice cream vanilla lager beer.
Oh, heavens.
Oh, a lager beer.
A lager beer.
It's...
That's not... You put the emphasis on the wrong bit, Travis. It's not that it's lager that's remarkable. They're a brewery. It's the vanilla ice cream bit that's incredible. Oh, Camden Town are making what? Beer?
And a lager at that, like they're known for their lagers.
Sounds interesting though. I like vanilla as a flavour. Often ends up being sweet though.
Yeah, so they say that it's a they've introduced their freshest scoop yet, brewed with lactose and vanilla essence for an ice cream inspired beer that's more refreshing than a soft serve on a summer's day. No chocolate flake needed.
Oh, okay. I was going to say the soft serve is that's like a scoopy type bit, because there is also for me there is a bit of a difference between ice cream scoop and like a Mr. Whippy.
A Mr. Whippy, that's the soft serve. That's how I would refer to the soft serve.
Yeah,
the ones that you get out of an ice cream van where they then it's out of the machine, do little twisty things, and they pop a big chocolate flake at the top.
Yeah, okay. I hope it's 99p. By the way, that would be a shout, wouldn't it?
What was that?
They should make it 99p.
Yeah, I suspect the 4-pack of 440ml cans, which are the big cans, is going to be considerably more than 99p.
£3.96 then. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Well, but yeah, I would be interested to try this. It's a 4.8%. It has got lactose in it, so you lactose intolerant out there probably won't be able to try it. But it is suitable for vegetarians.
These guys will be missing a trick if the marketing team don't convert an ice cream van to be serving this around the place.
I think I could see that's going to be one of their activations. You're absolutely right. I mean, they've got AB InBev behind them now, so they've got some real spend. I'm sure they'll do something like that, because that's a great idea, Drabs. They have to do that.
If I'll give them that one for free.
The only thing I could think of that might stop them from doing that is because that would appeal to children.
Yeah, but they're not going to sell it to children, are they? They'll ID everybody.
I quite like the idea of attracting children all over to the van, and then they're like, I'll have an ice cream, and they're like, no, get away, you little freak. You can't
Challenge 21.
Yeah.
Or maybe, just so that, it still looks like an ice cream van, but maybe they put music out that's different so that people know it's not an ice cream van. Maybe they put, like, death metal, coming out the van. the van.
Yeah, but no one's going to
Not
rock
for
up to a
children.
death metal van.
What?
Well, that's it. It's not for children.
I'm not saying it isn't death metal, but what is the most appropriate music for a beer van? I mean, Umpar band is making a lot of sense to
True.
me.
Yeah.
Maybe,
But then they haven't got any German heritage.
That's
so,
true.
You know,
Well,
I think that'd be cultural appropriation, Barbara. Actually, so
Beer by Real Big Fish, which I'm sure has come up before
Oh,
in the past.
yeah, could do.
yeah.
Might
That
be
is-
quite expensive for them to secure the rights for that.
Oh, that's
Nah,
true.
real big fish. Real big fish aren't that big.
I was going to say, when you said
They're huge. I like
Real
everyone
Big
knows.
Fish, because in the name.
I love real big fish. It's,
Well, when you said, the music for a ice cream van is kind of like childish. I think if you go, do you just go back in time? Maybe some classical, maybe some Beethoven. Is the way
To sell this
yeah.
ice cream.
If you
Again,
can hear
I-
the Fifth Symphony coming around the corner, it's like that means the beer is here. Yeah.
So just to be confirmed, the marketing team at Camden Brewery, you can have all these ideas. That's for free.
Yeah.
You can do this.
Just a credit would be nice.
Just let us know.
yeah,
we'll
just
turn
let us
up.
know where you're going to be, and just one free can.
Yeah, one free can,
Yeah.
but for all of us and not just these two. It's 3 episodes later and I'm still fine about it. 2 episodes later, it's cool. Anyway,
So,
exciting.
Talk about Pilsner Urquell, which Travers had quite a bit of a difficulty explaining in the
Yeah.
in the intro.
Today we're drinking has.
That's right. I had a difficult saying it, and I had difficulty finding it.
Okay.
That's, to be honest, that's because you got the name so confused. You were looking for something else the whole time. But this is an interesting beer to be doing. This is an interesting beer to be talking about. This is.
It is.
Because, and I think we mentioned it in the previous episode, this is the original Pilsner.
It is. It's the original, which is amazing to say. 175 years worth of is how long Pilsners have been around, and because this is the first and original one. Now we did at the Czech Pilsner. What was it called, Barbara?
Hello. Bitburger, wasn't it? When we were talking about
No.
Bitburger?
It was the Czech Republic. It was all about Prague.
Yes, it was. But well, I think it was because we were talking. Well, just on that one, we had been talking about lager versus Pilsner sort of thing. But it is from Pilsen in the Czech Republic, and that's where Pilsner comes from, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there are Pilsner hops, and this is why this is Pilsner Urquell. I don't know where the Urquell bit comes from. That's presumably the local name.
The area.
Yeah. Well, the area is Pilsen, right?
Yeah.
So, like in German, when you're like a Hamburger, because you're from Hamburg, a Pilsner is from Pilsen.
Yeah.
And I assume it's a Pilsner hop, but excuse me. There's also the ORZP, which I think is the link towards what they do, their original recipe, that presumably has set this down for, think about how many Pilsners there are these days. It's often very easily forgotten, but, oh God, I can't think of any now. The only one I can think of is Holsten Pils.
Yeah.
But there's loads, and it's just, for me, I just like it as a sort of alternative, in inverted commas, to lagers that's just got, as we said before, the bolder hop profile, which is my phrase of the month at the moment.
So I love that the Pilsner Urquell go into quite a lot of detail about how they still make this traditional Pilsner and this traditional method. It's like triple decoction, which I had a quick Google of, and it's a concentrated liquor resulting from heating or boiling a substance, especially a medicinal preparation made from a plant. So it's all about extracting the essence of something. And they use parallel brewing in wooden lagering barrels. That was quite interesting. And having looked at their website, I just slapped you guys or messaged you guys the website that I'm referring to, the website page I'm referring to, and they have these big wooden barrels where obviously their beer is stored in, which looks fascinating. And they also have a guy who's they've taken a photo of who looks like Dopey from the Seven Dwarfs. Click on that link that I sent you and just scroll down a little bit.
Yes, big old smile and a little bit of a comb over. Does he have eyes, or is he just smiling so broadly?
It's brilliant. He looks like a cartoon. It's fantastic. But he's obviously very important to the brewery, and that he's checking and inspecting their beer from these big barrels.
It's funny. I should give you a little bit more detail of this as well, though. But I had seen this before, and I was wondering if we looked at this again, I'd say it again. Pilsner Urquell are all about, in terms of how you serve your beer, you need a big, thick head, like 40-50% of your glass should be the head, according to these guys, which I quite like as just almost completely arbitrarily. This is how you should be drinking it. Like, I don't know the reasons for that they will give, but I don't know. It's just almost like, put yourself in the hands of the brewer.
Well, they're saying that it's to keep the signature flavour balances sweetness from the triple decocted, that word that I said, malt, and bitterness from their sass hops. The thick head of dense wet foam adds smoothness and seals in flavour and aroma.
Sorry, you should not use dense wet foam in any form of marketing for your beer.
I mean, it is what it is, I suppose.
I think you should.
It is. It's like 40% of this jug is a head.
You should use it for marketing if you are, I don't know, giving very niche spa treatments, maybe.
So, I'm quite interested in Pilsner Urquell's marketing. Can you guys tell me which celebrity they picked to be the face of Pilsner Urquell?
Oh no, I don't know. Who is it?
I want to be able to guess it though. Let's have a couple of goes.
Okay, so to think of who would you want to advertise your Pilsner beer in the celebrity world?
The Pope.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Usher.
How about wait? No, I've got a better suggestion than this. No, I don't know. No, you're just gonna have to tell us. I think.
Robbie Williams.
Robbie Williams.
Robbie Williams. So they basically their comparison is that they are the original and that they are the first, and that every single time you drink a Pilsner that it's fantastic and this is the original. And they're saying that Robbie Williams, every single performance he gives is original and fantastic and a first and all this sort of stuff.
What?
Yeah.
That is a tenuous link if ever I heard one.
That is a very tenuous link.
I'm a massive Robbie Williams fan. I've been to see him live 3 times.
Bit jealous. I do actually really like Robbie Williams, to be honest. He's done some absolute bangers.
Generally, I've seen some absolutely fantastic people live, but nothing beats Robbie Williams live in concert. He is a phenomenal performer. But yeah, I just don't get the link between Pilsner beer and Robbie Williams.
I've got a picture of Pilsner Urquell, someone drinking Pilsner Urquell, and on the other side is a picture of Robbie Williams with that kind of shaved around the sides haircut and sort of bleach blonde hair at the top into a quiff, which does make him look like an ice gem. Fair play.
So, obviously we need to go dig back into the history a bit more about Pilsner Urquell. They've got pictures on their Instagram of very old timey, maybe like the early 1900s of people digging ice out of the Pilsen rivers. And they're saying in the captions that in the old days we used ice from Pilsen rivers and ponds to keep our beer cool as it lagered in our brewery cellars. So that's quite fun. But actually I stumbled across some little fun factoids here. So legend has it that the special yeast used to brew the first golden Pilsner Urquell, was originally created at a Bavarian monastery, stolen and then cultivated by a monk. This monk then reportedly gave the yeast to one of the brewers at Pilsen as repayment for a debt. This same strain is still used used to brew the beer today.
Can I just ask, why is the monk in debt?
Borrowing money off someone.
His logic checks out.
But I thought monks gave up all their worldly possessions and were meant to give up any form of sin and all of that sort of stuff.
Well, yeah, no wonder he needs to take a loan if he's given everything up.
Yeah, he's got nothing. Who were the richest people in the world throughout medieval history and all this time? It was usually the Catholic Church. So I would say, monks had a lot of power for that. So I think that analogy, Rich, would be nice to know if that's real, but I don't know if that actually translated But I digress. I think it's perfectly legitimate to think that a monk could have borrowed money and is in debt from someone. But the fact that someone accepted this strain of yeast as repayment for that debt is another thing that's more interesting, I think.
Yeah, if somebody tried to pay a debt to me in yeast, I'd be like, come on.
Yeah, what's this?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Have you ever heard of... It's basically like Jack and the Beanstalk when he took those 3 beans.
Yeah.
So it goes as well. A little fun fact here that beer, as we know, for the Czech culture, beer is incredibly important / integral. So it was said that, and I think this is true, that in 1996, the then Czech president Václav Havel met with the US president Bill Clinton at a Pilsner beer house in Prague to talk politics and culture whilst drinking Pilsner Urquell. That's what the legend goes. So rather than meeting in like an official statement, they met at a beer house, which I think was quite fun.
Well, that's probably the best place to discuss any big business is in a beer house, because after a few beers, there's going to be some great decisions made.
Well, and maybe lots of decisions have to be made. A good decision has to be made in Czech Republic because they are the largest beer consumers per capita in the world. They consume at a level that is almost double the yearly consumption level of the United States.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
They're basically drinking that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
So, yeah, it's a lot. That's a lot of Pilsner getting consumed.
We mentioned earlier on there's a lot of head served with a
what was it? The how do they refer to it?
Wet,
dense,
sweet,
dense
head.
There was just the term dense. No beer
dense,
should be
wet,
described
moist.
as dense.
No, it wasn't moist. We've added moist in there.
Yeah.
That's horrendous. The dense, wet foam
Yeah.
that adds the smoothness and seals in the flavour and aroma.
Thick, dense, wet.
Thick.
Same word. So
Are we adding more and more descriptive words?
so basically, with
Luminescent.
Pilsner, basically with that, they are actually quite serious about serving it like that. So does the word tapster mean anything to you guys?
No. I mean, I'm guessing someone who gives you beer?
Well, exactly.
Right?
So there are, in Pilsen, there are a number of, they call them tankovna bars, where there are, well, as I understand, there are people who work the bar as well, but there are tapsters who are specifically trained to serve the beer. This is basically a beer barista. They're all trained for like 5 days extensively just to pour out Pilsner Urquell perfectly as they're supposed to.
So they take 5 days to learn how to pour a beer. I've just come off a 3-day first aid course on how to do basic first aid, and that's literally CPR and
Keep
a
people
few
alive.
bandages. Yeah, they have. To keep people alive, they've just done 5 days on how to pour a beer.
There's a little more to it, in fairness. So it is also about maintaining and cleaning the taps and that sort of thing. However, it is quite sweet, actually. I'm sorry to reference them directly, but Pilsner Urquell have this motto that the brewmaster brews the beer, but the tapster makes the beer. And particularly in knowing that they have a certain level of, there's a certain standard to which the equipment that the draft beer is going to flow through is kept and maintained, pretty rigorously. I do really like. I do admire that. I think there's much to be said for that. And apparently, in these tankovna bars, particularly, the idea is that everyone is the tapsters are trained to a standard whereby this doesn't happen. But if anyone goes for a beer in there, they are really ready to send a Pilsner Urquell back if it is not poured perfectly with the right amount of head and that sort of thing. So, I don't know, for a beer that to me has probably flown under the radar a little bit in the UK, it's worth bearing in mind. It not being exported that much doesn't take away from the real local credibility this beer's got.
Yeah, and I think that they're taking it very seriously. I mean, the fact that they've got a whole program around these tapsters where they're training them to be official pourers of their beer, and they've got them all listed on their website with profiles, like photos and shots, like they're real members of the team. I think it's really interesting.
And actually, sorry, I should have said also that there is a little bit of a point to it as well, in that I think in the bars that they work in, the idea is they're not always going to be selling Pilsner Urquell, so they are really familiar with other beers as well, because Pilsner Urquell realise that theirs is not the only beer that exists. So the tapsters are really well versed on a load of other beers as well. So it must be a pretty packed 5 days in truth.
Their team's really big. I'm just looking at all of their pictures now. That's really cool. I'm down for that. I think more breweries should train people to pour the perfect beer.
I can't think of any. I mean, I'm not saying they don't exist, but I can't think of many other brewers who take the serving of the beer that seriously. Guinness, maybe give you that.
Yeah, I was going to say Guinness.
But they do it on a very broad scale, large scale, don't they? So it's a little bit different with Pilsner Urquell, but obviously very seriously taken.
What do you think about this fact that they're saying, and they're claiming on their website, that saying this, the world's first golden Pilsner, the source of inspiration for all Pilsner beers since 1842. It inspired a worldwide brewing revolution. Over 70% of all beer drunk today is in the Pilsner style.
70% of all beer drunk today
is in the Pilsner style. That's what they're claiming on their website.
That does seem a bit bold, doesn't it?
Would Budweiser call their beer a Pilsner style beer?
I think they wouldn't, but I do think there's some credence to what Pilsner Urquell are saying by it must have been influenced a little bit.
Yeah, there's style, isn't it? It's not Pilsner. It's Pilsner style. So
I think you're right. I think that style word loosens everything up a bit, doesnn't it? So it's just anything that's kind of lager-esque could be styled after a Pilsner.
That's a good way to explain it.
And I think we're agreeing that lagers are the most popular beer in the world, because they are. Yeah. So if you're taking lager as the category that's all inspired by Pilsner, then yes, okay, maybe that statement is correct.
I hear lager's making a big comeback soon as well, by the way.
In the crafty beer market.
Yeah.
Although also at the same time, sorry to expand on that a little bit further, is basically any breweries that are more than, say, this is pretty arbitrary, are less than 40 years old, are going to be influenced by all the ones before, because of the number of breweries there were before, maybe 50 years, 1950, 1970, and before that number we've seen grow exponentially, how many breweries there are. So if there are, and basically all of the breweries that, for instance, have come about since the 1960s must be, to a certain extent, influenced by the ones who are still in business from 100, 200, 300, 400 years ago. I'd have thought.
No, yeah.
Well, I think you can't. Yeah, exactly. You're basically saying you can't ignore what's happened behind you. That's it. Like, to say that you've rejected it all and you're doing it your own way is like, we've seen breweries do that, and I think that's fair. But the fact that there is actually a beer industry, you can't say that you've created it. Like it's happened before. You've been influenced by it happening. You might have your own take on it and doing it in a fresh or innovative way, but you certainly can't dismiss what's come before.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's like a new band now, and if they were to claim to not be influenced by the Who, it's like unfortunately, whether you like it or not, you probably are, basically.
And it wouldn't take long before someone will have put a mashup of their songs against like the Who songs of where their riffs will have come from and stuff like that. I think wrapping up on Pilsner Urquell, obviously the world's first Pilsner. On Instagram they have 30.5k followers.
Yeah, quite
and
nice.
on Twitter they have 6.9k followers, and this is their UK one. But yeah, it seems to be they have one beer, which is the Pilsner Urquell. I haven't, unless you guys can tell me otherwise, other beers that they do. It seems to be this is the one beer they make. They don't make a 0% version of it either. It's just, this is their beer. It's the oldest Pilsner, and this is how you consume it. And they've really doubled down on that.
Yeah.
Well, if you can do it well, commit to it.
Yeah.
And that's all we have time for this week's episode of the I'll Try That podcast. And so from me, Joe, Rich,
Barber,
and Simo.
Goodbye. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram,
Twitter.
I'll try that podcast.com.
And watch us on YouTube.
Goodbye now.
Don't fix it.